So I just lost $5,000 of monthly revenue in under a week. Epic, right? So literally in under a week, I lost two clients, one of them being my biggest client for my email marketing agency. They were bringing in about 4.3K a month in revenue. And then I lost another client that was bringing in $1,000 a month in revenue. And it sucks. Now, the $1,000 a month client that I lost them because it was nothing to do with me. They left because they just couldn't afford my services anymore. But the $4,300 a month client left, and it was my fault. And I'm going to explain why it was my fault, and hopefully you can learn from that and take it into your own agency like I've learned from it going forward with my agency. So the $4,300 a month client, they were paying for automations and campaigns, right? And the original deal was I was supposed to do the campaigns for them, scripting, design, building, testing, same again for the flows. 2 automations or flows every single month, right? But that's neither here nor there. What happened was when we first started, the client found it easier just to script the emails themselves, right? And when we first started, I was like, you know what? We will gradually transition away from that till we take over the bulk of the work and make it easier for them. But month 2 rolled around and they still were scripting the emails. And in my head, I was like, you know what? We should be writing these because that's what we originally agreed on. But they're still paying us, things are still working, and we're still doing a good job, like we're hitting all our KPIs, and the client's taking a bit of the workload from us, right? But that's not what they hired us for. But in my head, I was like, you know what? It's fine. I'll just cruise a little bit, make it a bit easier for myself. If the client's happy, whatever. Month 3 rolled around, same thing again. And by month 3, I had this little feeling where I was like, you know what? Something's not quite right. Like, I feel like I should be making this easier for the client, but I was lazy. Like, 100%, like, I was lazy. I just wasn't being proactive, and this is something of my key takeaways. I wasn't being proactive and saying, like, hey, like, I can tell that you guys are doing a bit too much work on this. Let me take over a bit of the workload. But I wasn't being proactive. So what ended up happening was month 3 rolled around, had a gut feeling. I got on a call because I have fortnightly calls with these guys, and I was like, hey, just want to get a finger on the pulse. And they're like, yeah, no, everything's all good. Everything's all good. Month 4 rolls around. They pay me for the 4th month. And then out of nowhere, right, they say, hey, we're going to stop our services. And at first I was like, oh my God, what the hell? Where did this come from? But if I'm being honest about it, I could have seen this coming a mile away. And this is my key learning from this experience. The moment you start feeling like something is slightly off, that's when you want to be really proactive, demonstrate value, and really get in there as far as offering more value, right? Demonstrating and offering value. 2 different things, but the big one is actually demonstrating value. Because here's the thing. With the client that I had, right, we were doing 36% of their total revenue coming from email, which was exactly the KPI that we set after 3 months. Our conversion rates from a sign-up form perspective were exactly where we wanted them from 3 months before signing. So we were hitting everything out of the park from a numbers perspective. But the client still felt like we were falling short. We were not demonstrating enough value. Even though we were giving value, we were not demonstrating value, right? So either A, the client wasn't aware of it, or B, they didn't feel like they were getting enough value, even if the numbers were there. And so this is where it's so important to match the reality with the perception of reality. The client's reality versus, the reality versus the client's perception of the reality. And what I should have done, looking back, is I should have been a lot more proactive and said, hey, we're going to take over all the scripting. Also, we're hitting all these numbers. Super happy with that. Here's how we can demonstrate some more value. We're going to chuck in an extra campaign and make it clear. Make the client aware of the fact that you are doing these things for them. So basically, where I fell short was I wasn't taking on enough of the work that I should have been taking on because I was lazy. I'll own that. And B, the client felt like they weren't getting enough value for money. They felt, very important, felt like they weren't getting enough value for money. I was not making them feel like the money they were spending was worthwhile, even though it clearly was. Clearly to me, but not clearly to the client. And that's an important distinction there to make. And the lesson I took away from this is just to really demonstrate more value. And an example of this is I had another client that I was kind of feeling like this. I felt like they were a 6 out of 10 on the good client experience scale. And so I took the lesson that I just learned and I went, you know what? I'm going to take that and I'm going to go ahead and apply it to this other client. And I got on a call with them and I said, hey man, listen, really happy with how the campaigns are going, because they are going really well. But I really would just like to go ahead and offer you guys something for free. I know it's not in our contract, and normally we would charge for this, but I think we can really get some more conversions from a sign-up form perspective if we do a split test here. Are you all good if I run a split test, create a new sign-up form for you guys, no charge, just to see if we can get some extra value? And just saying stuff like that, like saying, hey, normally I charge for this, but I'm not going to, not in like a corny way, but in like an authentic way. Hey, I know we don't normally do this, but I'm just going to go ahead and chuck this in for free for you guys. Hope that's all good. They're grateful, and they are seeing the value being demonstrated, right? They're seeing that value. Whereas before, even though we are crushing it with their campaigns, which we are, we're doing our job, but it's about going above and beyond. And here's the big thing as well. Your job as an agency, with any client, is to make yourself indispensable to the company that you're working with. Ingrain yourself in their business, get like entrenched in the business, and make it so that it's literally impossible for them to get rid of you without it causing massive problems. Now, that's not to say you should create arbitrary systems or password protection things that make it really difficult for the client to take over. Make it so that the value you give your clients is so much that it would be impossible for them to go somewhere else without 2-3 months of downtime, finding a better agency to then get them up to scratch. Just give so much value within reason, right? Because you're still trying to make a profit, but make it ridiculous for them to leave. Like, why would you leave? We're doing so much for you, it doesn't make any sense. And you want to become indispensable. You want to become a key part of their business, right? To the point where it's like they're just another team or they're just another staff member. Really entrench yourself in the agency, in the company rather, and you will find that your retention goes through the roof. I was not doing that with the second client that I lost. The first client, there's nothing I could have done, right? Like, they just didn't have enough money to pay for my services anymore, so they had to go. But the second client, 100%, they could go somewhere else, because the service that I was delivering, in their mind, and in reality, like, they could go somewhere else and get the exact same service. I was not giving enough value to make myself indispensable, and that's on me. And I knew it. That's the frustrating thing. You can feel these things in your gut. You just know it. But we're just path of least resistance. And it's so common. Like, we go, oh, path of least resistance. It's a bit easier for me just to ignore this problem. Don't do that. Like, when you feel that something's wrong, get on the call, have some balls like I should have had, and get aggressive with it and be like, hey, listen, I feel like something's kind of off. I want to make sure that you're getting the most out of our arrangement here. Can we just give you some stuff here? Normally we charge for this, but I think it's going to give you some more results here. Just really happy to make sure that you guys are really crushing it with the services that we're offering, right? And at the end of the day, the services that you should be offering should be generating, it should be doing a good job for them. They should never feel like they're not getting a good deal from the work that they're doing with you. And once again, it's important. They shouldn't feel like they're getting a bad deal from you. It's that feel. And obviously it has to match reality, so it has to be a good deal that you're giving them, but you have to make them feel like it's a good deal. Retention starts the moment after you sign the client. It's literally the moment they sign the dotted lines, that's when that experience with your business starts taking shape. From onboarding process all the way to 6 months down the road. You just need to make sure you are constantly keeping them in the air. It's like, you can't like set and forget a client. You need to constantly nurture that relationship. The analogy I used with one of my friends recently was, it's like a balloon. Remember when you were a kid? And it's still for me because I'm a freaking child. But when you have a balloon and you keep trying to like keep it up in the air and then it slowly drops down and you need to do something to pop it up again. It's like that. That's the client relationship. It's pop it up. It's good for a month. And then something happens. You need to get back in there and pop it up again. Right? Now, obviously, as you scale, that becomes harder and harder to do as a business owner, which is why you got to hire people who really care about client success. But that's for another video. I hope you guys found that useful. Learn from my mistakes. I know I'm having a big learning experience just from this. I mean, between you and me, that's like 25% of my monthly revenue gone, right? It sucks. But that's just part of it. I'm learning from this. It hurts my soul, but it's gonna make me stronger. I'm gonna be better for it. And when something more difficult comes along, 100%, I'll be able to say like, you know what, I've had this experience before. If I could get through that, I can get through this. So it's all part of the learning experience. But if you like this video, smash that like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. Follow me on Instagram, and yeah, we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.